You know that feeling when somebody is complimenting your work and for a few minutes you feel amazing. You finally feel enough. But then it fades. And that's because external validation is like sugar. It gives you a quick high, but never stays. In this video, I'll share 3 ways to create validation from within, the kind of validation that lasts. Hi everybody, I'm Andri. I'm a physicist turned empowerment coach, and I make videos to help ambitious people get clarity and confidence so they can finally go after the life they really want. One of the biggest struggles I see with high achievers, and I've been there myself, it's this constant hunger for validation. It drives us to chase bigger and bigger challenges, no matter the cost. That no matter the cost mindset is exactly what we need to break. So in this video, I'll share 3 strategies I wish I had known years ago. The ones that I now use with my coaching clients, and when you combine them, they're game-changing. Just to be clear, this isn't about looking confident on the surface. This is about valuing yourself from within so you can feel a kind of confidence that lasts. All right, let's jump in. Okay, so call it FOMO, call it networking pressure, call it whatever it is you want. It's ridiculously easy to end up spending time with people who aren't actually good for you on the inside. Here's what I would invite you to do. Make a list of the people you regularly hang out with and ask yourself honestly, how does each one make you feel? And I would like you to really think about this. Then make a second list. Think of people you know that when you interact with them, you just feel at peace. Maybe they're not your usual type. Maybe they're way different from you, but something about being around them feels authentic. It feels refreshing. Here's the thing about high achievers. We are often surrounded by very, very competitive environments that just reinforce those external validation patterns that we're trying to break. We hang out with people because they're successful or they can help us reach our goals, but they're not actually nourishing our souls. When instead you're around people who accept your authentic self, not because of your achievements, not because of your potential usefulness to them, you stop performing and you start being. You're not constantly defending yourself or trying to prove your worth. And this gives you mental space to actually discover what you genuinely value about yourself. Now, this could sound contradictory. Aren't we supposed to find validation from within and not depend on others? Well, this isn't actually about depending on others for your self-worth. It's about creating space where your natural self-worth has room to grow. That's how the right relationships help build real internal validation. Have you ever noticed how your best ideas come in the shower or during a walk? Well, that's because your mind finally has space to process. Most of us never give ourselves that space intentionally. We're constantly consuming information, responding to messages, jumping from task to task. If you're like most high achievers, your brain is running non-stop. You might fall asleep thinking about tomorrow's tasks and wake up with your mind already spinning. Here's what I've discovered helps break that cycle. Deliberately creating quiet space through journaling. Now, I know what you might be thinking. I don't have time to sit around journaling. I used to think the same thing, believe me. I was the ultimate busy bee. Honestly, I still am. But now I carve out time because, believe me, even just 10 minutes make a huge difference. Just to sit down alone with my thoughts, with a pen and paper, and pour out what's in my head. Think of it like dusting our apartments. It helps keep our minds clean, or like having a mirror for the inside. We can immediately see what's been taking up space in our heads, even stuff we didn't realize was there. Now, even though I don't usually reread all entries, just doing this regularly helps me notice patterns in what I tend to ruminate about. There's something there. There's something about seeing our thoughts on paper that can help us find solutions easier. We can literally draw a box around a topic or thought, then pull arrows to possible solutions. It takes something that's been stuck on repeat and makes it tangible, something we can actually work with. Here's what often happens after we put out all the worries and stress and anxiety. There is suddenly space to notice things that we couldn't see before. Whether that's the birds singing outside or the golden sunlight through the window, the feeling of fresh air, the sound of kids playing. After I declutter, there is suddenly space and I notice and write those nice observations down too while smiling. It's like clearing mental clutter creates room for appreciation and gratitude, which helps make us feel more grounded, more secure. In fact, the research shows that this shift from being inside the problem to observing it can help reduce emotional reactivity and rumination. And when we're less overwhelmed by intense emotions, we can gain clearer perspective on our experiences. And this creation of regular space to process our thoughts and feelings without the pressure to immediately fix everything or to always be perfect, this can help us develop a gentler relationship with ourselves over time, which in turn helps us feel valued from within. Give it a try and let me know in the comments. I would love to hear how it works for you or what routine you develop. Okay, so here's a scenario. It's 8 p.m., you're finally wrapping up work and boom, somebody sends you an urgent request. Not even your boss, just somebody. How you handle that moment is absolutely crucial. You could stay until midnight to handle that emergency. You could reply saying when you can actually do it. Or, and this might blow your mind, you could leave it unanswered until tomorrow and get back to them during normal business hours. Now, obviously, it depends on the situation, who it's from, what they're asking, but here's my point. There are options. We just forget that sometimes. I've noticed that the hardworking label, that's often a mask for insecurity. And that insecurity usually comes from weak boundaries. It's this weird catch-22. The more insecure we are, the more we want to work or please others. The more we please others, the more we forget to check with ourselves. What do I actually want? What are my red lines? I'm not saying ignore people or be rude. There are ways to meet expectations without losing yourself. But to not lose yourself, you first need to get to know you. Starting with basic questions. What are normal working hours for me? What do I want outside work? What time do I want to check out? What needs to be true for me to feel balanced? Once we know what we want and we start prioritizing our well-being, and yes, we should be doing that. Because if we don't, nobody else is going to do that for us. So once we know where our lines are, it becomes so much easier to take charge. We're giving less power to others over what we end up doing, which in turn helps create real empowerment from the inside. Now, one last thing. These 3 strategies are powerful and will create real change in how you experience validation and self-worth. I've seen this transformation in my own life and with the clients I work with. Now, there is one more thing worth mentioning. We high achievers are notoriously bad at 2 things. Number 1, checking in with ourselves. And number 2, asking for help. We excel at analyzing complex problems in our work. But when it comes to our own emotional patterns, we often have significant blind spots. Sometimes we avoid seeking support because we fear it would confirm our deepest worry, that we are not good enough. But here's what I've learned. These validation-seeking patterns usually have much deeper roots. While the 3 strategies we've covered will absolutely make a difference, especially when you do them consistently, these behaviors often trace back to early experiences that shaped how we see ourselves. Working with a therapist and coach can help us understand where these patterns originated and provide additional tools for building that internal foundation. Think of it as having an expert guide when navigating complex terrain. Not because you can't figure it out yourself, but because having that perspective can make the journey clearer and much more insightful. By the way, if you like this video and if you're curious to see how I personally build and practice inner confidence skills through challenges like skydiving, breaking bricks, speaking at high-stakes stages like TEDx, check out this video over here. Hope to see you there. Bye-bye.